Good afternoon, class. Welcome to Satan Worship 101. I am your guest lecturer, Mark Bernardin. I have some faculty I'm going to bring out to help walk us through. First, executive producer, Ildi Marjovic. Executive producer, Joe Henderson. Trisha Helfer. Rachel Harris. Amy Garcia. Kevin Alejandro. And the Dark Lord himself, Tom Ellis. Tom, would you like to lead the choir in a song?
Well, we christened our new theme tune last year at Comic-Con, so we thought it'd be a nice way to start the panel and get everyone in the mood to have a little rendition of our new song. So obviously, when we cut to commercial breaks on the show, there's a bit of a riff that goes... That's a guitar, by the way. And Joe and the writer's room made up some lyrics for it.
We did.
It goes, crime-solving devil, it makes sense, don't overthink it. Okay? So do you think we can all do that? Yeah? All right. We'll do one all together, and then you guys join in, okay? Ready? Crime-solving devil, it makes sense, don't overthink it. Crime-solving devil, it makes sense, don't overthink it.
Nice. That was an amazing guitar riff.
Joe and Ildi, let me ask you a question. If the first season of Lucifer was about him being re-engaged with humanity, and the second season was about family, like as f***ed up as that family is, but it's about family. I'm sorry, are there children here? No. Awesome. What can you say about where season 3 is going? What's the theme you guys are pushing into for season 3?
So season 3 is identity, because Lucifer woke up in the middle of the desert with 2 wings on his back, and he doesn't know why they're there. He doesn't like it much, and he's kind of pissed. So what we're going to play with is what happens when the devil feels like someone's trying to tell him he's something he's not. You want to tell me that I'm an angel? I'm going to prove to you how wrong you are. It'll be fun.
Lucifer does not like to be told what to do.
Yeah, so expect a lot more, I guess, a deeper dive into devilishness.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Tom, Lucifer needs to be a lot of things. He's got to be dangerous and seductive. He's got to be tragic. He's got to be funny. What's the light you use to navigate that very tricky path by?
Oh, sorry, say that again. I've got terrible feedback here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Lucifer's got to be a lot of things. He's got to be dangerous and seductive and funny and tragic. How do you navigate that? That seems like a lot of rocky shoals you could run aground on.
That's a very good question. Well, a lot of it, I mean, I have to say a lot of it is in the writing for me. So, you know, it's... He paid me to say that. You know, a lot of it's there. I think, you know, trying to think about the confusion for Lucifer in this new world, and that everything is new, and he's constantly learning, is a big thing. But mainly just trying to get that sort of subversive sense of humour about it all. I think that sort of helps the navigation and take the weight off it slightly.
Last time we saw Lucifer's mother, she was all John Milton in another dimension, leaving Charlotte her body back. Seems like that could have been the end, but it's clearly not, because you're here. So...
Yes, she deserves it.
Very happy to be here.
And this is also not the first time you've played characters who've kind of inhabited multiple bodies and different psyches. Like, what's your little key to doing that? Like, how do you do the waypoints for, like, what is Charlotte? What is Mom? What's the magic trick?
Well, since I haven't really been Charlotte yet, it's going to be a new experience in season 3 for me. But I mean, you see them as different. When I did the robots in Battlestar, I always saw them as different people. So even though they may look the same, their experiences are completely different, and that's what that makes them individual. So with Charlotte, keeping with what Joe said, with identity, that's going to be a lot of Charlotte, of figuring out who she kind of is now, what happened to her in that time frame that Mom inhabited her body, because she obviously doesn't know that happened. So kind of figuring out what just happened. Was it amnesia? What she had a husband. How to explain everything that Mom put her through that she doesn't know anything about? So learning what she supposedly did for the last few months, and then also kind of somewhat figuring out where she was herself. There's kind of, I think Ildi said I could say this, there's kind of 2 places you can go, right? And I guess you'll have to wait and find out where she went and how she figures that out herself.
Kevin, how are the improv classes coming?
Thank you for asking. I think you're going to get a little bit of insight on that this season, actually. I think we'll revisit that live, and it's going great because I'm really good at it, obviously. It's going to be fun, I think.
I mean, one of the most interesting parts of the season as a viewer was watching your character kind of move from antagonist to a lighter tone in the show. Like, was that something you were angling for, or was that just a happy coincidence?
You know what? That's just a happy coincidence, man. I think, I'm going to attest to the writing once again, like everyone else is that because they're great. You want to change things up for everybody, right? I mean, you get a certain idea of somebody, and it's always a really pleasant surprise when they switch it up on you. And I think that's been one of the most inviting things about playing this character, is that you never really know where he's going to go. And I think this season in particular, you see him at the end of last season with a broken heart, and he's just sort of like, whoa, what's going on? Why don't you understand who I am? In reference to Charlotte. And I think you get to experience that this season as to how he deals with trying to revisit that love, quote unquote, don't quote me, that he experienced, that experience with her. Excuse me, I'm busy.
Tom, can you tell me what the most devilish thing that's happened on the set? Do I get points for puns? Because I can pun all night.
No. The most devilish thing. Well, we've got a few pranksters, Kevin being one of them. But also, sadly, Lauren can't be here today, but Lauren does like to have a laugh. Let's just put it at that.
Meaning she's never, ever, ever serious about anything.
No.
Ever.
And on my birthday last year, she filled my trailer with cardboard cutouts of a certain person that had been on the show that sort of wound me up a little bit. That was quite interesting. There were several of them, and I thought I'd got rid of all of them, and then I went for a wee, and there was one in there as well. So, fright of my life.
The show for the first couple of seasons shot in Vancouver, right up in Canada, but now you're coming to LA. What does that mean, right?
Yes!
I mean, what does it mean for you guys to actually be able to be on location in Los Angeles?
Go, Amy.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for LA to be a character. I think that instead of having to cover up rain and lack of sun, it's going to be really cool to see Tom drive his badass Corvette, 1964, black on black. Shooting in LA allows us to shoot at Griffith Park and Magic Castle and all these cool places that are landmarks of the city, and it allows LA to kind of be a character in this really cool story.
Yeah, when the devil comes, takes a break and decides he wants to go to the city of sin, like, you want to see that sin, and now we have that opportunity to take it there, and really show you where that world is and what that world is. Right?
And also,
Somebody say yes.
And also a lot of No, and also a lot of us have families that live in Los Angeles, and so a lot of times we were commuting back and forth, and so it's nice to be able to go home at the end of your workday and be with your kids.
By the way, one shout out to our Vancouver crew, who we loved, and in fact,
This T-shirt is actually designed by several of our crew. Can you see it?
Who, they're in the
Lauren and
hot
Tom.
tub.
Several of our crew in Vancouver.
There we go.
Oh, stand up.
Tom with a huge black.
It's been edited for those under 18.
They were a little generous
His
in
huge
some
black
areas.
exaggeration.
These are the crew members that made it, and we loved them all so dearly. It was really kind of heartbreaking leaving them. And I'm not saying that just to say it. It's the truth. It was a really sort of weird, sort of double-edged sword. But I think the show needs to be in Los Angeles, and we just can't thank them enough for getting us to this point. Basically,
They
were
brought
so
us here,
integral
yeah.
to how this show worked.
Yes.
Rachel, it's been really nice to see Dr. Linda go from a character who only really interfaced with Lucifer to be able to touch sort of every other storyline in the show. My question is, when are we going to get Girls' Night Out 2?
Oh, I know. We love doing that episode. I don't know when our next Girls' Night Out episode is going to happen, as I'm eyeballing Ildy and Joe. But I will say that there's more. We've done so much where Dr. Linda does interact with other characters, and she's asking them to look inside themselves, and she asks them to tell me more about what's going on and but the thing is that we've never really asked Linda those questions. And so given the fact that she almost died at the end of season 2, and she's coping now with the reality of being the only person that really kind of knows this celestial supernatural world exists, she's starting to maybe be in denial about how much it's affecting her. So I think we're going to see a few cracks as I'm looking over at all the writers that are here, whom I absolutely adore. Our writers are here and they're awesome.
Representing.
They're all right there. But they've worked very hard to, I think, get to know Linda a little bit more. Like, we don't really know her backstory, and so so that'll be really nice.
we've been working on some Dr. Linda backstory recently. And by the way, the 4 standalones, which were the episodes highlighted in that reel, are giving us opportunity to dig into all of the characters here and there, and it's something we're going to continue into this season. We're very, very fortunate to just have a very rich world of characters, and these guys are okay too. And and we are going to dig into them, and it's been really fun.
Linda's lap dancing days. It's
Yes.
a really great episode,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yes,
You guys
lap
are going
dancing
to see
days.
how she became, how she went from stripper to therapist.
But I was also a phone sex operator in there, and that was in
Yes,
Girls' Night.
that was-
So
yeah.
we're gonna.
Yeah,
do
and undersea explorer in the middle of that. That's
Mountain climber.
Joe and Ildy, like when I look at your cast, when I look at the writers in your staff, when I look at the directors you have doing episodes, it seems as if, I mean, I might be implying an intentionality, which I hope is there, but it's an incredibly diverse group. It's the sort of thing where you hear of shows like The X-Files, who's had one woman writer in 300 episodes. Like, was it something you guys from the jump were insistent upon doing?
You know, it's funny because our staff, actually, our writing staff is half women, half men.
as it should be.
Our cast, we actually have more women than men, just saying.
As it should be.
So,
Tom's secretly trying to get rid of every other guy on the show.
and, you know, especially a show that could be kind of possibly macho, possibly sexist, it could be. We wanted to make sure that we had all voices represented, and it really is that, not to sound corny, but as opposed to, it's representative of what the world is out there. We have people of many colors, we have both sexes equally represented. So it's, you know, we just are representing real life.
I represent the sexist pigs, and I do a very good job at it.
I clearly represent the saints. Let's summon demons together, people.
No, can I just say though, in fairness, Joe and Elodie work fantastic together as as the two co-exec producers, and I think that they lead by example, and all of our writers are very strong, and they all have a lot of respect for one another, and it's exciting to get a script and be excited to get to do the work that we get to do.
Thank you.
So.
We like the philosophy of when you see a writer's name on a script, the voice might be slightly different. It's still the show, but there's a little reflection in that. I always liked watching X-Files, and I'd see a name, and I'd be like, oh, this will be a really good one. Oh, Vince Gilligan episode. That'll be a little weirder, a little darker, and it's fun with our writers because we have an amazing writing staff to let them,
And that's what, when we get it, we like to just just erase all evidence of them and just stamp ourselves on there.
That's why every episode is now written by Joe Henderson and Ildi Modrovich.
That's right.
Thank you, guys. That was really nice of you to agree to that.
We love our writers.
Amy, all too often, and we've seen similar types of characters on shows before. We've seen the lab nerd, which is just a bag of quirks. But it absolutely seems as if your character is a character. She's a person. She has wants and needs. What's a secret that you know about her that helps you to flesh out that character?
Honestly, I think that she is just one of us. It really is. I mean, I think that it could have been written really one-dimensional, and I tell the writers all the time that I've never met a character, male or female, who speaks Klingon, knows her science really, really well, has a very bad experience with Vegas, is from the ghetto and knows how to pick a lock because her abuelita, her grandma, taught her how to do it, and she's still klutzy and a major goof. And also, a woman of faith and a woman of science. So I find her to be such a unique, well-rounded character, and I never know what she's gonna do, so I really feel like I love that she isn't really defined by a romantic relationship. She's in her own lane. She represents women of science. So I have people tweeting me, thank you for representing women in STEM, and I love that she's very clear about her faith and who she is, and she's not self-conscious. I feel like a lot of other characters on the show got so much baggage, and they're dealing with so many things, and with her, she's just like no filter, what you see is what you get, foot in mouth constantly.
Does that remind you of anyone, Amy?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and the other thing is too, I will say, and I love to dance, and the sweetheart that Tom is, regardless of how many hours he's on set, 17-hour days, I'll come bust in and I'll be like, Tom, would you be down with maybe doing a routine? Never says no. And I think I broke down the writers, and they're like, she's gonna keep dancing, so we're gonna have to write an episode where she just dances, because otherwise it's just gonna drive us nuts. And they're so collaborative, and they just pick up on each person's quirks, and it's like an actor's dream. So it's my favorite role I've ever played, and I feel very fortunate to have been on a lot of great shows. And I don't know, I think she's really special, and I feel very honored to play someone like her.
Click left to watch the second part of the Lucifer panel, or click right to watch part 3.